From the creepy swamps deep in the heart of Cajun country, I welcome you to Fave Five From Fans, the podcast where I, Jamie Ray, your humble host, invite a friend of mine, or in this case, my daughter Lilli, to create a list of 5 of our favorite things that we have a shared interest in, be it movies, books, TVs, toys, Disney movies, or whatever. Our own unique Venn diagram of topics near and dear to our hearts. Then we sit down to compare and contrast, dissect and disseminate our choices for you, the listening audience. We'll start off with honorable mentions, those selections that didn't quite make the Fave 5 for good or bad reasons. And then we'll take turns unveiling our choices backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You'll hear us discussing everything from alien invasions to zombie attacks, Rom the Space Knight to musical numbers, Edgar Allan Poe to Stephen King, both literature and film adaptations. All that's left is for you to decide who's right, who's wrong, and will we still be family after all this. I can't wait to get started, so please sit back, strap in, and get ready for this episode of Fave Five From Fans. Hello and welcome to another episode of our family edition of Fave Five From Fans. Very excited today to have my daughter Lilli Ray back with us today. We have a very interesting topic, one that many people are familiar with, and I've asked Lilli to make her list of her Fave 5 to compare to mine, and I'm really interested to see what she's going to bring to the table. I think it's going to be an interesting ride. So let me turn it over. Lilli, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. It is a Friday night here during the COVID-19 kerfluckle. We have spent the day, my first day of being 50, watching some really great horror movies together.
Yeah.
It's been a good day. We watched Halloween, the original, and then we followed it up with Halloween 2, and then we watched A Quiet Place.
Yes.
So it's been a cool day for horror movies.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about on today's show, is it?
No.
No, we're talking about some warm, fuzzy movies, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're talking about Disney movies. So I've asked Lilli to make her list, and I've made mine. And as we both know, Disney goes back a long time, and I have been watching Disney movies since the very early 70s. So I'm going to be interested to see what your list versus my list is going to be. First of all, what makes you a good person to be on this episode of Fave 5?
I am a very dedicated Disney fan. I've watched dozens of Disney movies. I went to Disney World. And I'm just an overall hardcore Disney fan.
I don't see any mouse ears, though.
No, I left them in my room.
Do you comb those back so that, people don't see them, or what's the deal there? Well, good. That sounds good enough for me. I think you have a couple of honorable mentions?
Yes, I have one.
You have one. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that sounds good. So I actually have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
So as being the guest, I'm going to let you go first. Why don't you give me your honorable mention?
Okay, so for my honorable mention, I have one of the most recent Disney films released just in 2020, Onward.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. I've seen that one.
You did?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Long ago, the world was full of magic, but magic faded away.
Halt, dear brother!
Lazy, bad dragon. Back to your lair.
From Disney and Pixar.
I have a gift from your dad.
It's a wizard staff. Dad was a wizard.
Your dad was an accountant.
This March. Whoa, how did you... I don't know. My brother is a wizard.
Oh, no.
Disney and Pixar's Onward.
So basically, these 2 brothers named Ian Lightfoot and Barley Lightfoot, played by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, 2 Marvel dudes. They're 2 brothers, and their dad has died, and they need to basically cast a spell to bring him back from the dead so they can spend a day together with him.
So he's like a zombie. I like it already.
Kind of, I guess.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Does he eat their brains?
No.
Oh.
because the spell
That's still
doesn't-
pretty good.
The spell doesn't work, so only his bottom half is here. And so the whole quest is trying to get his top half back. And it's just a really good movie. It reminds me of Frozen about the themes of love, but not like princess and prince love, more like sibling love. And I think it's just a good movie.
That's cool. It was, and I did enjoy it. I didn't think I was going to, but once I got down for the ride, it was really a cool little movie. So
Yeah.
I could see why you have that as an honorable mention. What part of the movie spoke to you to make it as part of this list?
I think it's mostly about sibling love because I really love my sister.
Yeah, you do.
And I think just that Disney's trying new things and not sticking to the princess and prince and looking at different forms of love is just like a really great formula to try out.
Right.
And I just like that a lot.
And so this Disney movie is noteworthy because it actually had the first true official LGBTQ character.
Yes.
And that was in the form of a lesbian cycloptic
Yes.
police officer who has a partner and is dealing with the partner's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was cool. We had to look that up, but because it's
Yeah.
fast if you're not looking
Yeah.
for it. But that's really cool. It's like you said, a modern age. It's a new way to look at it. That's great. Yeah, I have 2 honorable mentions.
Ooh, what are they?
Well, my honorable mention, my first one, is the very, very first thing I thought of when you told me you wanted to do a Disney movie. It's a movie that I have probably not seen since sometime in the early to mid 80s. It is a great little movie called Condor Man.
Yep.
From 1981.
Who can save Princess Juliet? Held captive by the evil Count Lorca? Who can save the city? Who?
Have you seen this report on this Condor Man? On this man Wilkins? He's an amateur, do you hear? He is not an agent of the CIA. He is a writer of comic books.
Find out who has been using the code name Condor Man.
But how can we escape? Fly?
I'm sorry I had to get so violent. But it was the only language they understood.
It's a cool little movie that was directed by Charles Jarrott. It had a budget of $14 million. I know, right?
Wow.
And a box office of pretty bad.
Wait, I have a question. Was it
Yeah.
$14 million now?
No,
$14
then.
million. Wow.
Which is
Okay.
a lot of money now. And it's a really funny little story about a cartoonist named Woody Wilkins who believes that the superhero that he draws, whose name is Condor Man, must be able to accomplish all of the feats that he does in his comics in real life.
No.
So basically, Condor Man won't do anything that can't really be done. So the movie starts out with him in Paris with a Condor Man hang glider suit, jumping off the Eiffel Tower to prove that it'll work. And it doesn't kind of go very, smoothly. He ends up wet, but luckily his friend Harry is there to help him out. And he tells him he's a clerk with the CIA, but in fact, Harry is an agent. So he comes to Woody and says, "Hey, Woody, I need you to do me a favor." The Russians, and of course you got to remember this was at the height of the Cold War, they want to exchange dossiers, but they only want civilians to do it. he said, so I want you to take this to Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Been a long time gone, Constantinople, now it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night.
And meet up with another civilian, and y'all exchange it. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, it's Woody's all excited because that's what Condor Man would do. And he goes to Constantinople.
Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Been a long time gone, Constantinople, now it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night.
Yeah. Well, it's not Constantinople. But,
Right, Istanbul. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he meets the beautiful and alluring Natalia Rambova, who's played by Bond girl Barbara Carrera. He takes the opportunity to play off that he is actually a secret agent named Condor Man. And through a befuddlement of mishaps, he saves her from Russian agents.
Great choice of words.
Thank you. And then the movie goes on because now she wants to leave the Soviet Union and come to America and defect. And the only person she wants to extract her is Condor Man, the super agent, who, of course, isn't really an agent. Yeah. And things are messed up by Oliver Reed, who plays Krakow, a former KGB agent, and her former boyfriend. So then a whole series of things kind of work their way out, and it is like a comic book come alive. Huh. It was really fun to rewatch this movie. I have it on Betamax, and so I was excited to see it again. Though after watching it, the nostalgia is for the movie, and it's not a very strong Disney film. It's got a good message, but, I mean, it's 1981, so the execution was a little lacking. But anyway, I absolutely loved it. So that is going to be the first thing we talked about is Condor Man. Honorable mention number 1 is a couple of movies that you're familiar with. And that's right, I'm using my squiggly math here. I'm talking about, of course, Mary Poppins from 1964 and Mary Poppins Returns from 2018. Yeah, you know these.
Yeah.
Both of these movies did very well at the box office. Original Mary Poppins had about $6 million in 1964 money and made $103 million.
Wow.
And then Mary Poppins Returns had a $130 million budget and made $350 million. So, yeah, both of them did very well. Of course, I grew up watching the original Mary Poppins. With all the people, Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, Glennis Jones, all of those people. And then when Mary Poppins Returns comes along, I'm thinking there's no way they can really capture that same essence. And of course, that guy Lin-Manuel. Yeah. He plays Jack, who is a former protege of the Dick Van Dyke character, Bert. And Emily Blunt takes up the mantle of Mary Poppins.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's really good.
Practically perfect in every way.
And at first I was like, wow, if you can't have Julie Andrews, you're not going to have Mary Poppins. And one of the stories I heard is that Julie Andrews said, because they came to her first. And she says, I've had my time as Mary Poppins. It's time to turn it over to someone else. Aww. Yeah, I thought that was very sweet. And Emily Blunt did an amazing job as Mary Poppins. It's just a really great film. And of course, Dick Van Dyke shows up again and does his own dance numbers. And it was just a fantastic movie.
How old was he?
I don't know. Well into his 80s.
Jeez.
Yes.
Wow.
And I remember, when we went and saw it, I came back and looked it up, and sure enough, he did all of his own dance.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, I couldn't do that, and I'm only 50. So, anyway, that one are going to be my 2 favorite, and they go together, so that's going to be my honorable mention number 1. So, I think it is time for you to give me your number 5.
So, my number 5 is the 1992 classic Aladdin.
Oh, yes, with Robin Williams.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Get him!
The princess? Can you make me a prince?
Mr. Aladdin, sir, have a wish or 2 or 3. I'm on the job.
Do you trust me?
You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend.
Splendid, absolutely marvelous.
You never had a friend like me.
Disney's Aladdin on digital, Blu-ray, and 4K.
Made you look.
Basically, this street rat named Aladdin, played by Scott Wigner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please don't look to me for approval because I have no idea how to pronounce it.
Okay. Well, Aladdin, he's kind of living on the streets, and he gets recruited to fetch this lamp from this magical cave.
Whoa.
And he gets the lamp, and he rubs it, and this genie, played by Robin Williams, comes out, and he grants Aladdin 3 wishes.
Right.
And so...
First wish, 1,000,000 wishes.
You can't wish for more wishes.
Oh. First wish, make Sofia Vergara love me.
You can't make someone love you.
Doggone it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
So basically, the whole movie is just surrounding Aladdin and the genie going with their antics. And Aladdin's main goal to accomplish with his wishes is to win over Princess Jasmine, played by Linda Larkin. So that's how he uses most of his wishes. And it's
I know. I want a steak taco, the best steak taco in the world, and every time I bite it, it automatically reforms itself, so it's a never-ending steak taco. Would that be a good wish?
I guess.
Yes!
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I've just been thinking about that ever since you said something.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's just it's an awesome movie, and I've always had some nostalgia around it, and especially since that was my first performance.
Right.
Because the first time you sign up for this theater group that I'm in, you have to take a class.
Shout out to CYT, yo!
So basically, in CYT, you take a class, and then you have to do like a mini play, I guess, like a little skit.
Okay.
And for the first class I took, it was musical theater, and our little play was Aladdin. And so I kind of just have this thing around how the reason I got here was because there was Aladdin.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
Yeah. And you did great. I remember you sing, what was the song, Never Had a Friend Like Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
you did
that's
great
one of my
job.
favorites.
You even had the blue pants, too. That was awesome.
And it was just always, like, kind of stuck with me. So, that's my number 5.
That's a great one. Okay, so my number 5 is a movie I don't think you've seen.
No.
There's probably going to be several of those on this list. It's going to be a film from 1982 called Tron.
It happens inside the computer in a dimension man has never seen. Kevin Flynn, computer genius, is programmed into the world of the computer. Held prisoner in an electronic arena where love and escape do not compute. Tron, an adventure inside the computer, rated PG.
I heard they're making a Disney ride about that.
Did they? Well, they just did a sequel not too long ago called Tron Legacy. And as much as I really would have liked it, I did not meld Tron and Tron Legacy together like I did the other ones. I felt that it didn't have the same vibe and the same heart as the first movie did. It was a very good movie. I did enjoy it. Visually, it was stunning. But it just didn't make me nostalgic for the original one like other of these movies did, like Mary Poppins Returns did. Okay. So Tron has a bunch of dual characters because it's the story of a guy named Kevin Flynn. And Flynn is a computer engineer who works for a company, and Ed Dillinger is his boss, who is who's played by David Warner. And Bruce Boxleitner and Cindy Morgan both work at this same income place where Kevin Flynn does, who's played by Jeff Bridges. Kevin figures out that something's not quite right, and he goes to the boss and tells him, hey, there's something going on. It looks like these computers are stealing programs or, whatnot. And what you find out is that there is a computer program that's taken over called the MCP, or the Master Control Program. And when Flynn breaks in to try to get evidence to prove it, the MCP is able to take over this new thing that they're doing, and he actually shoots this laser kind of thing at Flynn, and it breaks him down and turns him into a digital file and drops him into the computer world. In the computer world, all of the same people who we're familiar with are in here, including his friend who worked with him, played by Bruce Boxleitner, is Tron. And everything in this world is based on games. And so these cool games where they drive these bikes and you have to draw squares around your competitor until they crash into the wall. It's kind of like the Snake game that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
So it's for its time, was really an amazing feat of special effects and the way that they were able to bring that whole world to life.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and so I really, really liked it. I used to love to play the video game. It's really a great film, and I hope one day we should sit down and watch it. And then if you like it, we can watch Legacy. Nice. But for me, my number 5 is going to have to be the original 1982 Tron.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, you got a number 4 for us?
Yeah.
A number 4 for us? A number 44 for?
No. A number 4 for us.
For all of us?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice. Yes, please do.
Yeah. So, my number 4 is the classic Disney movie based off of Greek mythology. Yes, I am talking.
101 Dalmatians.
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm talking about the 1997 movie Hercules.
Oh, from Zero to Hero!
Hercules.
No, I think that's a different Disney movie.
Oh, okay.
But still, Hercules. So, yeah, that's a great one. So tell us about it.
Who was the gladiator?
Hercules! When a hot-headed bad guy...
Boom, bada, boom, 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 ah!
And his hard-headed henchman...
Reporting for duty!
Plan to take over the cosmos.
Yes!
It's up to the high-flying Hercules!
This kid is a genuine article!
With some help from his friends to save the world and become a hero!
You did it, kid!
Disney's Hercules! Rated G. On sale now!
So it's based off of Greek mythology and the story of Hercules, obviously from the title. And it's about this...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This demigod who's the son of Zeus. And he's adopted by this normal family, and he feels like out of place where he is. Then he realizes, oh, wait, I'm the son of Zeus. And he goes training with a centaur goat thing named Phil, played by Danny DeVito, which is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so he meets with Phil, and they train, and they're all buff now, and he's this big Greek hero.
Does he have the eye of the tiger?
I guess.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not sure.
80s reference. Please continue.
Yeah. And he meets this girl named Meg. Meg is played by Susan Egan.
Mm-hmm.
And he falls in love with her, but she's like this sassy, independent lady.
That was just the 3 snaps for you who missed it in the audience.
Yes. And it kind of incorporates... I find this really interesting that it incorporates Greek mythology, but you can miss it. So, like, it shows... In the middle of it, there's, like, this song called Zero to Hero, and it shows basically the 12 labors of Hercules. But you don't notice it. You just think it's him fighting, a bunch of monsters, being all cool and stuff. And it's actually kind of like the monsters he would fight in the 12 Labors of Hercules.
I got you.
And you know that famous, the famous scene where he's wearing Scar?
Yes.
So that's actually the first labor.
Uh-huh.
He has to kill this giant lion, and he wears the lion's fur.
Uh-huh.
To present that he killed it.
I got you.
And so, I guess Scar is that lion.
From
original Greek mythology.
Yeah, but the scar is from
Lion King.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because he's got the scar on his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And basically, Hercules and Hades, Zeus's brother, so
James
Hercules'
Woods.
uncle. Yeah, they're kind of like enemies, and so they kind of like fight. And it turns out Meg was working for Hades this whole time. I know.
No.
But Hercules still loves her, and so he goes to the underworld to save her because she died. Aww. And then she comes back to life, and he becomes a true Greek demigod. Yeah, and it's just this great story. And I think one of the reasons I like it is because I really, really like Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since this whole movie is based off of Greek mythology, I really, really like it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like no one really talks about it that much.
Really?
But it's a good movie.
Well, didn't you tell me that recently that they talked about they're going to make it into a live action one like they've done for Mulan? That would be cool.
That would be so cool.
I wonder who Phil would be.
I think it could still be Danny DeVito.
Yeah, it could be. You know, I just wonder, doesn't he have like a chorus of ladies who sing?
Yeah, the Muses.
Yeah, ooh, they better cast them or they're going to like break the internet with that.
Beyonce should be the main one. What?
What? Well, that's a great one. I like that. Hercules. Oh, sorry, I keep confusing them.
Okay.
Different one. Well, I have another mashup for my number 4, and I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It's not the last one either. Yeah. So, this is a pair of movies that came out in the mid to late 70s. And I have such an affinity for the first movie because I remember in elementary school, they would bring us into the auditorium, I don't know, maybe once a month, but it could have been more frequent than there. And we could actually get to watch a movie, all sitting down and doing it. And the first movie in this duo was a movie that I specifically remember watching. And I am talking about the Escape to Witch Mountain from 1975 and Return from Witch Mountain in 1978.
Interesting.
Yes.
Never heard of that.
Now, 2 supernatural thrillers from Walt Disney Productions.
Come on!
Runaways! Find them! Those 2 kids are witches!
Escape to Witch Mountain. Then Return from Witch Mountain. Tony and Tia battle in a deadly game of mind control. 2 bewitching thrillers, rated G.
I know, and these movies are both on Disney Plus. So far, Condor Man is the only movie that is not available on Disney Plus. Yeah, I know. But luckily I have Betamax, so, there you go. So this is the story of twins Tony and Tia Malone. Mm-hmm. And they are orphans that have powers.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they're able to telekinetically move things. They can psychically speak to each other. The first movie is called Escape to Witch Mountain.
Okay.
Because you find out, spoiler alert from a movie from 1975, they are not actually human, but aliens.
Whoa.
And Witch Mountain is the colony that the aliens lived in. So they remember an Uncle Beru, who they thought died in a boating accident with them and their parents. But at the end of the film, Uncle Beru is still alive, and so they get back together. And then the second movie, so in the first movie, Ray Milland is Aristotle Bolt, who plays the main bad guy. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys in the movie is Donald Pleasance, who we just saw twice today as Dr. Loomis from the Halloween movies. In the second set of films, Betty Davis and Christopher Lee are the 2 main baddies. And you're probably not that familiar with Betty Davis.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she's a very famous actress from 30s, 40s, 50s. And then Christopher Lee is famous because he was Dracula in the Hammer horror films, and he's also Count Dooku in the prequel Star Wars movies. He's a really, really cool actor. But in the second movie, they come back to Los Angeles, the two kids, and they end up getting split up. And the Christopher Lee and Bette Davis character kind of put the heebie-jeebie mojo on Tony, the boy, and they hypnotize him, and they're using his powers. And there's this whole thing with a nuclear weapon, and Los Angeles may get blown up if Tia and Tony don't get back together. It was, yeah, it was like really a nail biter. I loved those two movies, and I loved Eddie Albert, who was from Green Acres, played Jason O'Day, the guy that helped him. Uncle Benet was Denver Pyle. So those are my number 4 movies, the Witch Mountain movies, which, by the way, they did do a remake, and the Eddie Albert character was played by The Rock.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dwayne?
Yes, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. And it's kind of cool because both Tony and Tia, the actors who played them in the original movies, both have cameos in this one. So if you're interested, we'll watch these on Disney+.
Yeah.
Well, great. So, numero tres.
Yes.
Give me yours.
Well, it's funny that you're speaking Spanish because my number 3
I know, my accent's
is
bad.
Coco.
Yeah!
Yeah.
From the bottom of the ocean to the depths of space, Disney and Pixar have taken you to every world except the next one.
Welcome to the land of your ancestors.
It's that living boy. It's not nice to stare at. Ay, Santa Maria.
This Thanksgiving,
Miguel,
get ready for a family reunion that's a world away.
I miss my nose.
You gotta get home by sunrise. I'm turning into a skeleton.
You have to loosen up.
T-shirts, bubble kids.
What did I miss?
The creators of Finding Dory and Inside Out invite you to let loose. Hang on tight.
Nice kitty.
And join the party.
Skeletons don't walk like that.
It's how you walk.
No, I don't. Stop it!
Disney and Pixar present Coco, Thanksgiving in 3D, rated PG.
Not familiar with that one.
Really?
No, I know what it is. That's the one where the guy plays the guitar.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this kid not named Coco.
Oh, I'm so confused now.
Okay, no. Okay. So listen. There's this kid named Miguel. Okay, played by Anthony Gonzalez.
Okay.
And he loves music, but the rest of his family absolutely hates music.
Huh?
Yeah. He's
Who hates
like
music?
the black sheep. And he's mad that his family hates him for liking music.
Right.
And he wants to find his roots. And he thinks that this famous, basically Mexican Elvis
Thank you very much.
named... Wait.
Coco?
No.
Oh, sorry.
His name is Ernesto de la Cruz.
Okay.
Okay, I think he's played by Benjamin Bratt. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
And he thinks that Ernesto is his true, I think, like, great-great-grandfather?
Oh.
Maybe? And that's where he got his music from.
Okay.
And so he takes his Ernesto's guitar that's stowed in, like, his tomb or whatever.
Oh.
And he plays it.
Yeah.
But when he plays it, he enters, like, the world of the dead.
Ooh.
Because when he plays it, it's the Day of the Dead.
De la Muerta.
Yeah. And so basically, this whole movie...
Burrito. Sorry.
Okay.
That's all the Spanish I do.
It's okay. So basically, the whole movie is him trying to figure out where his roots are from. And he meets his family.
His dead family.
Yeah, his dead family. His real family. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I want to find my great-great-grandfather. And they're like, no.
Ernesto.
Yeah. And he's like, I want to find Ernesto. And they're like, okay. And then he meets this other man on the way to see Ernesto named Hector. And Hector's, I don't know how to pronounce the actor.
It's
well,
okay.
he meets Hector, and they make a deal that Miguel will help Hector by helping Hector's family remember him, because he's almost gone.
Okay.
So, basically...
Oh, because that's very important. That's what the
Yeah.
Day of the Dead's all about.
Because if you're forgotten by your family...
Yeah.
Then you'll go to the land of Forgotten.
Oh, not good.
No, not good. And so basically, no, not Coco. I keep saying Coco.
I want some Coco now.
Miguel goes to Ernesto de la Cruz, and he's basically like, I'm your great-great-grandson. And then on the way to go partying, because, they're family.
Right.
Miguel figures out that Ernesto's not his great-great-grandfather.
Oh?
So, for some backstory, the reason he thought it was Ernesto is because he found Ernesto's guitar,
right,
folded in a family photo.
Oh.
And so he's like, my grandfather, or my great-great-great-grandfather is Ernesto. But it turns out that before Ernesto became so famous, he was in a duo with this one other dude. And his friend was basically like, I'm homesick, I want to go home. But the friend was the one writing on the music and, playing the guitar. And Ernesto was nothing without him. So he was basically like, okay. And Ernesto poisoned and killed his friend.
What?
And took all his lyrics.
Did he poison his cocoa?
No.
Sorry.
Alcohol or something.
Okay.
And they figure out that Hector was Ernesto's friend.
Oh, no.
And so Hector is Miguel's real great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mind blown.
And at the very, very end...
Yes.
There's a happy ending, because they expose Ernesto in his big Day of the Dead concert. And Miguel gets to go back home. And Hector is remembered for being this great songwriter.
And they all drink Coco.
Well, Coco is Hector's daughter.
Oh.
Who is basically like Miguel's great-great-grandmother or something.
Uh-huh. His abuela?
I guess.
Oh my god, I knew another Spanish word!
Yay!
And it's about Coco!
Yeah!
Not the movie, but the drink.
Yeah. And so basically, at the very end, Coco finally remembers her father.
Oh.
And even though Coco dies at the very end, she's remembered with love. And the family celebrates their music heritage, and it's such a good movie.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
A feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney could make a whole thing about those.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
fun.
Cool. Oh, no, I feel all good.
Well, what is your number 3?
Well, my number 3 is a movie that is based on a series of books that my Uncle Richard in Pollock introduced me to as a very young lad.
Shout out to Uncle Richard.
Great late Uncle Richard. But I will always remember Uncle Richard for so many things. But especially, he introduced me to Edgar Rice Burroughs' character and series of books, John Carter, the Warlord of Mars. And in 2012, Disney finally released a movie simply called John Carter, kind of based on the first book, which was called Princess of Mars.
Our world is under attack, John Carter.
That don't look like a fair fight.
If you can't save us, your world will be next.
Let's see what he's capable of. John Carter, rated PG-13, in theaters and IMAX 3D, March 9th.
It takes place the end of the 19th century, where John Carter, who was a former Civil War veteran, while searching for the Spider Cave of Gold, stumbles into said cave, only to be met by an alien, and through a struggle, ends up killing the alien by mistake, but touches his medallion that transforms him to a world called Barsoom. It has much less gravity than Earth does. Yeah. So, being that John Carter is a strong guy, he is able to leap 8 to 10 times the height that he could.
Wow.
And he's incredibly strong. He is first taken captive by these 4-armed green creatures. Yeah. And becomes friends with the leader of that group. They're called the Tharks. And I am talking about Tars Tarkus, who is what's called the Jeddak, or the leader of the Tarks, who in this movie is played by Willem Dafoe. And it's kind of cool because the creatures are probably like 10 foot tall, and they kind of look like insects. And Willem Dafoe actually plays the character. And he wears one of those green suits with like the thing that goes on top of his head with the little golf ball so you can see where his eyes are. It's really cool. But anyway, John decides he needs to do anything he can to get back to Earth until he beats the lovely Deja Thoris, who's played by the lovely Lynn Collins. And she is a princess of one of the ruling classes there, like one of the countries. And it's called Helium. And Helium is in battle with Zodanga. Well, the same alien that was in the cave is helping the Zodangans. And so it's kind of an unfair war. Yeah. So John finally ends up deciding to help them, but right at the apex of the battles, when they almost have everything won, John is transported back to Earth. Yeah, by the leader of these bad dudes called Matari Shang, played by Mark Strong, who you would recognize if you saw him. And so it's got this great ending where he finds a way to make it happen and to get back. So it's really a cool movie. I was so excited when it came out. I was not disappointed with it like a lot of the sci-fi community has said that they were. I would love that it would have been made more money than it did, so they would have a sequel. It actually lost money. Yeah, it had a budget of like $306 million, which was a lot of money because there was a lot of computer animation in it. And it only made like $285 million. So we'll probably never see any of the other 12 books made into movies. But yes. Oh, it's... And I loved them. Uncle Richard gave them to me one at a time. I actually rebought them because they were his. I gave them back to him. But I loved these particular covers, and so I've actually been able to put together the set of 13 of them. So this is the same guy who wrote Tarzan. Oh. Yeah, Edgar Rice Burroughs. So, and he's actually portrayed in the movie to help John Carter while on Earth. So it's kind of neat. But anyway, that's my number 3 movie, John Carter from 2012. Also available on Disney+. So, give me your numero dos.
My number 2 is the 2016 hit Moana.
Moana. I'm sorry, I don't know how to sing that song.
Yeah. I am Moana. Like that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Legend tells of a hero who will journey beyond our reef to find the demigod Maui. And together, they will save us all.
I'm not going on a mission with some little girl.
This is my canoe, and you will journey to different...
Did not see that coming.
The ocean is a friend of mine.
First, we've got to go through a whole ocean of bad. Kakamora.
Kako what? They're kinda cute.
Dwayne Johnson is Maui. Auli'i Cravalho is Moana.
Really? Blow dart in my butt cheek.
Disney's Moana. Rated PG.
So, basically, it follows this girl named Moana, played by Auli'i Cravalho.
Oh, I saw her on that Disney sing-along.
Yeah. She plays Moana. And Moana's basically this daughter of the chief leader, and she's destined to lead her island. But she doesn't want to. She wants to be a sailor. But her dad hates sailing.
Oh, to lead her island, not leave. I'm sorry. I misheard you.
Lead. No.
Okay, so she's like a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she wants to sail. And so she goes sailing. And for some miraculous reason, she's connected to the ocean.
Okay.
And the ocean sends her on this quest to return the heart of Te Fiti to Te Fiti. Because there's like this plague wiping out all the plants, and all the fish are dead now. So she returns the heart of Te Fiti.
How are Nemo and Dory?
I don't know. This is in, like, Polynesia, so I think they're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So she has to return the heart of Te Fiti.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, she needs the help of the trickster demigod, Maui, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Rock what?
Yeah.
Obvious choice.
He sang me happy birthday.
Yeah. So she gets Maui, and it's basically all these adventures to get the heart, get Maui's hook, get to the island, and at the same time, Moana has a special connection to the ocean, so the ocean's like helping her out and guiding her.
Oh, and her grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a stingray kind of thing. Yeah, I remember that.
So, like in Polynesian mythology, you get reincarnated as an animal.
Oh.
And she gets
I'd be an otter.
reincarnated. Yeah, she gets reincarnated as a stingray.
Gotcha.
And she, like, visits her Moana as, like, a stingray, and she's like, you can do this. And Moana did it.
Yeah. And the Rock helped her.
Yeah. And all peace is restored.
Cool.
And it's a good movie.
Hey, so we both have rocks in our list.
Did not see that coming.
Woohoo! Go Dwayne!
Whoop whoop.
Fist bump! Okay. That's an awesome one.
Well, what's your number 2?
Well, my number 2 is a movie that I know you have seen from 2002. I'm talking about The Adventures of Experiment 626, Lilo and Stitch.
Hawaiian roller coaster.
Oh,
All of our dogs are adoptable.
Except that one!
Some animals are lovable, adorable.
Also cute and fluffy.
Stitch is a party animal.
No more caffeine for you.
Aloha!
He may not be from our world,
What is that thing?
but he's making himself at home.
Knock 'em dead! It's all you!
Lilo and Stitch on Disney DVD and video today. Rated PG.
I love this movie. And you know the special connection that we have with it with your sister, Abby.
And her...
I won't say why, but this is a very special movie to your sister and us. And it is, again, about the adventures of Experiment 626, who escapes from... I guess he's about fixed to be terminated, right? Yeah. And he comes to the island of Kauai in Hawaii, and he meets little Lilo, who thinks he's a puppy dog, takes him from the animal shelter. And there's just some amazing characters in this. Tia Carrera plays the big sister. David Ogden Stiers from MASH and from The Next Generation plays Dr. Jumba. And probably my favorite character is going to be Ving Rhames as Cobra Bubbles. And it's just a great film. It's about family, and it's about sticking up for those who are important to you and always doing the right thing. And it's got lots of Elvis music in it. So it's you know it's got to be a great movie. You like this movie, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. And I just love the way that he falls in love with Elvis, and he sings Elvis a few times. I even have a little Stitch wearing an Elvis costume and playing a guitar in the man cave. Because, I love Stitch. So if that's 5, 4, 3, 2, that means it's time for your number 1.
Yeah.
Are you ready to give it to me?
Should I recap all my other ones first?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. So, my honorable mention was Onward.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5 was Aladdin.
Right.
My number 4 was Hercules.
Hercules.
Number 3 was Coco.
Uh-huh.
Number 2 was Moana. And my number 1... Mulan!
Who'd have figured? Now, we're talking about the cartoon.
Disney's Mulan is on video.
My ancestors sent a little lizard to help me.
Dragon, I don't do that tongue thing. They were brought together by fate. Jump back, I'm pretty hot, huh? Now they're ready to take on the world.
I've got an idea.
Get ready. Who are you?
Your worst nightmare.
For the coolest team this side of the Great Wall.
You the man. Well, sort of.
Disney's Mulan. Own it on video today.
Yes, the 1992 version.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And what's that one about?
It's about this girl named Fa Mulan.
Coco? Oh, sorry.
No. Fa Mulan.
Fa Mulan.
Yeah. Played by Ning Na Wen.
Yes.
And she's basically supposed to be this pretty perfect bride that cooks and does all this stuff for her husband. But she doesn't want to do that.
No.
And her father's hurt, but he's supposed to go off to war. And so she takes his place and goes to war for him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like illegal.
Yeah, like big time, like death sentence.
Yeah. And so she needs the help of her ancestors. But her ancestors can't do it. So Mushu, the mascot, played by Eddie Murphy, has to come and help her out.
Yes.
And it's just a crazy movie.
It is. It is. And she has the help of a cricket, too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the cricket's name now. Cricky, that's it.
And she kind of falls in love with the general or captain named Li Sheng, played by B.D. Wong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Of X-Files fame.
Yeah. And
what's his name again?
Li Sheng. And it's basically just about the war that they fight against the Huns, and it's kind of about honor and love or using what you value to honor those that came before you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some really great friends of Mulan in this movie, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chin Po, Ling, and Yao.
Yeah. Especially Chin Po.
Yeah.
That's a great character.
Wink, wink.
Nod, nod. That is a great one. And of course, we are talking as people who, all of our 4 listeners who've probably heard our musical episode, Lilli has been Chin Po in the CYT presentation of Mulan Judy. So, what?
Yeah. And that play gave me a special connection to Mulan, because that was my first lead. And so, the same way I had a connection to Aladdin, I'm having a connection to Mulan, because it's both big part of my musical theater, air quote, career.
End air quotes.
Yes.
Because that career will never end. We can see you on Broadway, I know it. That is a great choice and a great number 1.
Well, what's your number 1?
Well, I guess I should roll mine down real quick. My honorable mention number 2 is Condor Man. Number 1 is a mash of Mary Poppins and Mary Poppins Returns. Number 5 is Tron. Number 4 is a mash of Escape to Witch Mountain and Return from Witch Mountain. And number 3 is John Carter. Number 2 is Lilo and Stitch, which brings us to number 1, my last and final mash. The Apple Dumpling Gang and the Apple Dumpling Gang rides again.
Wow.
Yeah.
First, the West's worst bank robbers blew into town.
Theater. Hi, Frank.
Then they blew it up. In Walt Disney Productions' new screen comedy, The Apple Dumpling Gang. See Tim Conway and Don Knotts in The Apple Dumpling Gang.
Rated G.
I'm looking for the Apple Dumpling Gang.
They went that away, stupid!
They're headed this way. You are both going to be shot between the eyes. Tim Conway, Don Knotts, Kenneth Mars. Remember us? The Apple Dumpling Gang rides again. Carries the Disney brand. Rated G. The funniest fugitives ever cornered in a theater.
You've never seen this one. I showed you a little snippet of one, but I am going to make you watch at least the first one. Okay. This is another movie that I specifically remember watching when I was in elementary school during one of those get-togethers. It's a great family movie. The first movie starts out with Bill Bixby, who played the Incredible Hulk, the human Incredible Hulk back in the TV series. He plays Russell Donovan, who is like a card shark and whatnot, and he meets up with a friend, and they're playing a game of poker, and the friend asks him, hey, I've got something coming in on Stagecoach tomorrow. Could you meet the Stagecoach and take it off for me? And he agrees to it, only to find out on the Stagecoach the next morning that it's 3 kids. And he does not want to have anything to do with these kids. He's a confirmed bachelor. He goes to see the mayor, who's also, I think, the barber and, I don't know, probably the blacksmith, too, who's played by Henry Morgan. Bring this out specifically because you see him again. He played, it's Homer McCoy is the guy's name. And Homer basically tells him, looking at the law, you have to take care of these kids until you can give them back to the rightful owner, which is his buddy who left him high and dry. And so he's stuck, basically. Yeah. Then enter in these two bumbling, quote, air quote, outlaws, end air quotes, played by Don Knotts and Tim Conway, two of my favorite comedians from that entire generation. Hilarity ensues. There's a lot. There's a whole thing about they find a big nugget of gold and they put it in the bank, and then these two try to steal it from the bank, and there's all these things go wrong. And anyway, it's just a really, really fun movie. And then the sequel takes the two characters again, Don Knotts and Tim Conway's characters of Theodore and Amos, and follows them on a new adventure that doesn't have the kids or anybody from the first one, but Harry Morgan shows up again, but he plays somebody different this time. Yeah. So, anyway, it's a great series of films. There's absolutely everything in it is wholesome and good that I can remember, and I could not think of a better Disney movie than these two movies put together, because I loved these movies as a kid. So I'm going to have to say my number one is, again, a mash of Apple Dumpling Gang and The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again, 1975 and 1979.
Wow.
Yeah. So you want to watch that one?
Yeah.
So which would you rather watch? Do you want to watch the Witch Mountain ones? The Witch Mountain one with The Rock, or Apple Dumpling Gang?
I think The Rock's going to take this one.
Yeah, we love The Rock.
Yeah.
He sang me happy birthday. Did I mention that? Well, awesome. This has been so much fun. Is there anything else you would like to shout out or talk about?
Shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Whoop, whoop.
Woot, woot. Maybe we can have him on the show one day.
I highly doubt that.
I don't know. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
Once he hears about how much you love him, maybe, maybe he'll come on and do a shout out to us. Who knows? We love you, Rock.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Well, all right. Well, then I would like to say thank you to all the listeners out there. I think we're up to 5 as of last week.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, Tina, for listening. I'd like to thank everyone else out there in the podcast universe for joining us for this episode of Fave Five From Fans. We absolutely love putting out this show and will continue to release episodes every Friday. You can find us on the AOC Podcast Network at www.aoc.org/fave-5-from-fans. Or you can subscribe to the show via Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, and just about anywhere you can get a podcast. Please take the time to rate and give us a 5-star review so more people can hear about us and we can grow the show. We'd also love it if you'd interact with us at Twitter, which is at Fave 5 From Fans. We also have a Facebook page, and we're on Instagram. We here at Fave 5 From Fans are excited to be part of the Slightly Irregular Podcast Network. You can find us at sipnet.us or on Instagram. The Slightly Irregular Podcast Network is a widely varied group of podcasters like the Terrible Terror Podcast, the Podcast from Another World, Dead End Radio, the Paranormal Activity Podcast, the Angry Dad Podcast, the Back in Time Podcasts, From the Wastes, and us, Fave 5 From Fans. So remember, folks, it may not be the best, It may not be the most popular, but if it's your favorite, then it's good enough for us. This is Hulk Boy from Hollywood signing off.
Good night.
How cool if we could actually get The Rock, huh?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.